Oh, yeah. No, this was it's changed. So I mean, if you change that, well, you have to have that map. After maybe that also is maybe you change.
Oh, but you have fun. Yeah. You guys get around town, right? Yeah.
Okay, I think we'll get started here. Want to welcome everybody to South Weaver City Council. Today, it's 6 p.m. on Tuesday, June 23rd, 2026. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilman Davis, and then I'll offer a prayer.
Please rise and repeat after me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our Heavenly Father, we're thankful for the opportunity we have with you here this evening in City Council with the City of South Weaver. We're so grateful for this city and the many things that it provides for us. We're grateful for this nation that we live in, grateful for the freedoms and liberties that we enjoy as we celebrate 150 years. We thank you for this great nation that thou hast blessed us with. Pray that we will realize the blessings that we do have. We're grateful for all those that serve in the city, volunteers and staff, employees, and firefighters, public safety. Thankful for them and pray that thou bless them and keep them safe as they serve this great community. Grateful for the blessings. We pray that as we discuss the things that are important to this city, that we might be guided. We can make the correct decisions and ones that will help prosper and lead this city. Grateful for this opportunity. Pray for thy blessings in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Okay, appreciate that pledge. Before we have our public comments, we'd like to have our fire chief, Derek Coleman, come up and give us a few words on fire protection.
I know I've been getting a lot of questions, especially after the governor's statements about why isn't our municipality doing anything at the governor's direction. Not to speak poorly of our governor, but our governor was clearly misinformed when he said it's up to the municipalities to create changes. And that seems to have riled a lot of people up, giving them this idea that we have the ability as a city to affect some kind of change when it comes to fireworks. And I know the council, and the mayor, I know you guys know this, so this is for the benefit of the public, that we have, as a city, we have till May 1st to approve a fireworks map. After May 1st, we can't make any changes to that map, and any further restrictions beyond that map have to come from the state legislature or by an executive emergency declaration from the governor's office. So any expectation anyone in the public has that myself as the fire chief or you as the councilor, the mayor can change anything to impact firework use is false. It has to come from the state legislature or by an emergency declaration from the governor's office. And so while I, as the fire chief, encourage people to to use their best judgment and realize how dry things are and to not shoot fireworks. We have no legal authority as a city to tell people they cannot shoot fireworks. And people can be held personally responsible for any damage that occurs due to errant fireworks. And that's something people should be considering when they decide to shoot their fireworks. But unfortunately, unless something changes at the state legislature, that authority has been removed from our city to be able to affect any changes moving forward. So anyone upset needs to be taking it up with their state legislatures, because that's ultimately, if a change is going to happen, that's where the change needs to come from. Is there any, I know, again, I know you all know that, but if there's any questions I can answer from you.
Does that also affect the, like state lands?
So-
Like forest land or, even the national forest land, and does any of that reach our canyon?
Yes, so stage one fire restrictions from the state and the county actually went into effect this last week. We posted those on our social media. So any residents that actually have land that goes into unincorporated county, they can't do any fireworks, they can't do any recreational burns, they can't do anything of that nature. So the counties and the state can control unincorporated county, and then through their agreements with the feds, they can affect changes there. But they've handcuffed cities' ability to do any kind of further restrictions. We were actually one of the cities that actually did the outright ban. Some of you were on the council, and it was actually that next legislative session that the legislature passed the law saying we were no longer allowed to do that. So anyone thinking we're not willing to take this serious, and I know in the past we've shown that we are willing to be very serious when it comes to fireworks, to the point where we did do an all out ban in the past.
So we do have a map, and we do have a map that shows where our city is restricted. So we'll just refer everybody to go online and pull up that map, and those areas we can enforce and will enforce.
Yep, and if anyone in the public ever has further questions beyond what I've shared tonight, they're always welcome to reach out to me as well, and I'd be happy to answer any questions they have.
Thank you, Derek. Okay, public comments. If anyone has any comments they'd like to make, we invite you up to the podium, speak in the microphone, and state your name and the city from which you're from, and we'll allow you 3 minutes to speak. Please address the entire council. No public comments. Okay. We'll move along. First item then on the agenda, we need to approve June 9th, 2026 minutes. Council, do you have any changes or things that need to be addressed in the minutes? If not, we'll look for a motion.
Move to approve.
Have a motion. We have a second.
Second.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Next item, ordinance 2026-07, changing zoning of 1.45 acre parcel number 130-180-101 at approximately 1550 east, 6650 south, from agricultural to residential moderate. Council, do you have any discussion on this ordinance? Not, we'll look for a motion.
Is it the plan to just divide it?
Yeah, I
okay.
think they probably have a family member that wants to build on.
It just says 2 lots.
Yeah. It'll create one new lot.
A will serve letter was requested for water this morning. A will serve letter was requested this morning for water. Just don't give permits until that's paid for.
So that'll be part of the subdivision. It still has to go through the subdivision process. So that'll be the first check. Preliminary
Okay.
approval with the planning commission, then the final plat at
Okay.
the Lua board, and then they'll move the vote.
Thank you.
So
Okay, someone like to make a motion?
Mayor, I move to approve ordinance 2026-07, changing zoning of parcel 1301-80-101 from agricultural A to residential moderate.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion second, Councilwoman Petty. Start with a roll call vote with Councilman Halverson.
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Okay, unanimous, motion carries. Next item, we'll look for a motion to open a public hearing.
Oops.
Oh, did I forget? Oh, I did. I just did that before I went to it. Resolution 26-21, interlocal cooperative agreement with Davis County for law enforcement services. Council have any concerns on this new agreement with them for the year?
It's pretty much the same, isn't it? Public safety.
It's pretty much all the
Other than
same.
Slight increase.
They're gonna, right?
Did we ever get the cars with South Weber City painted on the side? No, I didn't think so. Just saying.
Who's on
Yeah,
public?
did they?
I thought that was the public safety committee's responsibility.
Probably was, you guys.
Okay, someone like to make a motion?
Move to approve resolution 26-21 interlocal cooperative agreement with Davis County for law enforcement services as written.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second by Councilman Windsor. We'll do roll call vote, starting with Councilman Windsor.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you. Now we're ready to do a public hearing. Need to have a motion to open a public hearing for budget amendments for current year 2026.
So moved.
Seconded.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, public hearing is open. Anyone have any comments? Seeing none, we'll ask for a motion to close the public hearing.
Move to close the public hearing.
Seconded.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, resolution 26-22 fiscal year 2026 budget amendment number 3. Anyone have any comments or concerns on this resolution?
Brett, do you have anything to update us on more than in the report?
No, not at this point, other than what's in the staff report. There's no changes from that. A lot of it is just catching up on the unknowns, things that happen throughout the year, development that occurs. There's revenues and expenditures that pass through the city. That's where a lot of that change has occurred. There are some public work, the new building, there's a lot of things that weren't planned for. We didn't know what to expect for utilities and services directly related to that. So that's just a lot, catching up on a lot of the unknowns that we tried to plan for, but just didn't see coming.
Okay. Are there any one-time monies that we're allocating to any of those? I saw one thing I thought the ARPA funds, but.
There was ARPA and both RAP money were used during the year that they weren't initially budgeted for, but happened throughout the year. The projects were approved for the use of those monies. We just didn't have them set in the budget at the time. So that's kind of why this is kind of a catch up of what happened throughout the year.
So does that mean the monies that we're talking about and balancing it out and correcting it back and forth, have those been added, that additional cost to the new budget? Since we're obviously short or high on some of them, is any of that information ever used in the new budget, or could we just keep making the same mistake if it's some of them?
It's not necessarily a mistake, it's just we don't know the unknown. And so that's where these one-time funds, a lot of the ARPA and RAP money comes from committees setting what projects they want to do. We don't know that at the beginning of the year. But as that goes throughout the year, then we look at increasing the budget, and when that finally comes to fruition, the project, then we add those funds
And they
into
were,
that.
and they were one-time things and they don't need to move to next year's budget.
Correct,
That's
yeah,
the
they
part
are,
that I'm
they are.
asking about is, yeah.
As those one-time things come up, that's when it's discussed, how much, and then the project goes forward, and then the budget will increase based on that.
And what is sundry? Or sundry, or however you say
The
it.
sundry, that is for the general fund, that's a lot of the miscellaneous payments that or revenue that we collect. It could be anywhere from, well, that's kind of what it is. It's a lot of the miscellaneous revenues that we collect. It's just kind of true up what we received throughout the year in that fund, in that department. It's a lot of generic use,
So,
things that we haven't specified elsewhere, really. I mean, we do have our chart of accounts.
okay,
is
so in our
pretty
next
broad.
budget that come up, do we have money going to a sundry account?
We do have a budget for that. We've always been very, very conservative in that to try and make it so that we know exactly where the funds are going, but we don't. That's one of those unknowns. We keep that low. And then as things happen throughout the year, it's just miscellaneous payments. It could be interest, it could be fines, it could be not necessarily fines. We do have one separate for fines, but there's code enforcement issues that's where it gets coded. Things like that we didn't expect. That's where the sundry revenue comes from.
Okay. I don't understand why it's separate from the general fund. And put out for it, so,
It's just part of the general fund. It's not separate.
okay, so it's not someplace that we're actually setting up a line item for sundry and putting money into that. It's,
No, it's the miscellaneous revenue that we
Okay.
collect from
okay,
customers.
thank you.
Okay, any other questions? We'll ask for a motion on this then.
Mayor, I move to approve resolution 2622 of fiscal year 2026 budget amendment number 3.
Second.
Motion is second by Councilman Windsor. We'll do roll call, starting with Councilman Halverson.
Aye.
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 Great, motion carries. Next item, resolution 26-23, amended consolidated fee schedule. Any questions on this resolution or discussion?
I'd just like a little history on it. Did we go through a process again of verifying how many hours we're spending doing these items and making sure that we're getting all of our money for it? Or what did we do?
Yes, there was some analysis. A lot of it came from either committees and or staff based on the knowledge that they have. For example, one of those is the fire hydrant. For up until this year, well, even for this current year, we were charging $500 plus I think at that point it was a $25 non-refundable deposit. Now we've done analysis and figured out that the actual cost is closer to $1,500. And the maintenance that goes along with that. So we increased the non-refundable to $100. And the deposit on that is $1,500 to cover the cost of the hydrant. There's little things, not little, but there's things throughout the fee schedule where analysis was done on our actual cost to either, and we raised a lot of those costs due to that. There were some pass-through that we don't really have a say in. We just have to pass that onto the residents. As far as some of the utility charges.
Trash, yeah.
But we did do quite a bit of analysis and reviews, along with, I changed the format of the fee schedule to be, in my eyes, easier to read and understand and see one column of where all the fees are. But there was a change in the fee schedule and how it looks. But if there's anything specific you guys want to discuss or ask about.
No, I'm just happy
Feel
the
free.
due diligence is being done, at least
Yeah.
from my point of view. Do you feel that all the areas have been hit that are important?
Yes, I believe there may be some things here and there that I didn't have a chance to get to. But I feel like we covered a majority of the questions and concerns that either council has brought to us or that the committees have brought to us, along with staff's recommendations.
Awesome, thank you.
Any others? Ask for a motion.
Mayor, I'll move to approve resolution 26-23, amending the consolidated fee schedule.
Second.
Okay, we have motion and second. We'll do roll call starting with Councilman.
Aye.
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 Okay, motion carries. Next. Resolution 26-24, adopt fiscal year 2027 interim budget. Any discussion on this?
So can somebody help me understand what this one specifically is? Because we have it listed here as the, which rate? Whether we're going to hold to the rate or whether we're going to increase?
So let me try and explain this in a way, because there's a lot of moving pieces here. So the first initial piece is that the choice to hold the rate. There's a calculation process that goes into that, and I'm estimating two different numbers to come up with that rate. And my estimations are coming from the county and from the state. I don't know what they are, and I estimated the best that I could. And in the end, when we got the final numbers for the property tax valuation and the revenue that we would collect, and the certified tax rate that the county would give us, they were all a little bit different. And which caused, because of us wanting to hold that rate, gave us less revenue in our property tax revenue than what I had estimated. So that's where we come up with that initial budget adjustment of $21,000. And then along with that, the property tax value impact schedule changed. So now that we have about, rather than the $39,000 originally that we were expecting, we're expecting a $13,000 increase in property tax revenue. That's kind of all of that in a nutshell. Did you?
Yeah, let me try to say it another way in case, just in case people hear differently. So our tax rate in 2026 was 0.001434, so 1434. The county just provided us with the certified tax rate for this year, which is 1421. So down a little bit, because property values on the whole in the city went up a little bit. And the city would then receive the same amount of property tax amount as last year if we accepted that certified tax rate. To this point, the council has said they wanted to maintain the 1434 rate. And therefore, the intent to go through truth in taxation, the estimated additional value that we would get is $39,000. Now that we know the actual certified tax rate, we know that the actual property tax value above and beyond the certified tax rate is actually just under $13,000. So we estimated 3% increase. It ends up being about a 1% increase. And so that tax impact schedule that we had to create that showed $39,000, that if we go through the truth in taxation process and choose not to hold the rate and to actually take the certified tax rate, that money would be removed out of the budget. that $39,000. Now we only need to show $13,000 on that schedule. Okay, so that's one decision point, is what $13,000 do we maintain on our schedule there?
But that will get us to the 1,329, the 1,329,000, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So we estimated the total amount of money for the city to receive in property tax at 1,350,000. That rate of 1434 actually will provide to us, based on the county numbers, 1,329,000. So while we need to show 13,000 as our tax impact schedule, we also need to reduce our budget by $21,000, because that's how much higher we estimated what our revenue would be by holding the rate than what it actually is. So staff's suggestion to the council, in order to remove $21,000 from the general fund expenses, is to look at our previous tax impact schedule that had 39,000 on it and say, what of that 39,000 is not going to be in the budget next year? What are we cutting? What $21,000 are we cutting? Staff has worked with the department heads. Brett and I have talked through that and have made a recommendation. The council, of course, can look at anything in the general fund departments to say this is money we would like to adjust or pull out. But on that tax impact schedule of currently 39,000, 21 needs to actually be removed from the budget. And told us tonight, remove 21,000, and this is what the interim budget now will include. And then as a second decision, what needs to be on the new tax impact schedule that shows 13,000, because that's the actual amount above certified tax rate we will receive by going through truth in taxation, and if the council holds the rate at 1434. Does that make sense? There's a lot of moving pieces in there, so if it doesn't, please ask for clarification.
So if I understand procedure correct, the first question then before the council is, are we going to hold the rate or are we going to adjust the rate?
Well, that decision does not have to be made tonight, because the intent to go through truth in taxation was already made.
Right, but if we're going to be putting forward a budget that is minus now $21,000, we need to give input on where that money is supposed to come from.
Yes, the decision tonight has to be what 21,000 is removed from the budget. Yes, first decision.
Okay, so
If we're not gonna hold the rate,
Then
you
pull
gotta
all
make a
39.
decision for 34,000.
Yeah.
Has to come out of the budget.
uh-huh. So procedure wise, we don't have to vote on the rate yet.
No,
No, that will be after the truth in taxation hearing in August.
Okay,
So
so after that meeting, I guess I don't understand if we're not going to set the actual amount, why do we have to set right now what's going to be taken out of it?
because we estimated $21,000 high in our
Right.
budget. We have a budget document that we know we're not going to get that amount of revenue now that the county has told us the actual revenue number. So we need to remove $21,000 out of our interim budget.
But not if we're going to raise the rate to meet that amount.
Even if we raise the rate and hold 1434, we are short $21,000.
He's saying if we raised it above that.
We cannot raise it above
We can't, because
1434.
that's what we've noticed.
Okay,
Yep, 1434 is now the highest we can go.
okay,
Yep. Good clarification.
thank you. Okay, how do we want to handle what needs to be pulled out then? Because I don't think we've had really much communication and discussion on that, other than
Yeah.
the list of getting rid of the trees, taking off a few of the things, and not touching anything like executive salaries.
That's the decision for the council. Staff's recommendation is to look at the previous 39,000 and choose what of that is removed. But again, the council, anything in the budget is the council's decision. As we get to near the end of this process, staff's recommendation is that 39,000 was the initial list of what we would cut out of the budget if we didn't get the revenue from truth in taxation. And so that feels like the first list of items to to consider, but again, council.
Well, I guess I wish
council's
that
decision.
staff would have provided more than just that. Because to me, it almost seems like you guys picked and chose which one you wanted. And I know you went through the committees and those kind of things, but at the same time, we spend a lot of money on the training and trips and things like that, that could be shed off. Again, executive pay structure, maybe taking that just down to a COLA for this year, or whenever. I'm not saying that that's what we are going to do. I'm just saying there should have been, I would have appreciated, I can't say for the council, I would have appreciated a list of more than just those items.
Okay.
Because I don't put in any equal level our fire station and their needs with maybe pushing to get one of the projects done this year that isn't going to have a big impact if it waited another year or two. But I don't know any of those or what they can be. So do you understand how that's limiting in what our choices can be?
Sure. Yeah, I see how you feel that way. I also feel personally that we came up with that list based on council direction, that it wasn't staff working in a bubble, but I do totally get the feeling that we were tasked with providing that list of 39,000 and the council was not in the room when we decided what that 39,000 was to put on the list.
Mayor, can we have that list brought up on the screen so we can see what the staff did identify that equaled that 39,000? So we could then start.
I think staff did what we asked them to do.
It's page
And
44
they've
of the
always,
packet.
and
Yeah,
staff
it's
has
in the
always,
packet, if you have your packet.
Well,
staff has always,
Lisa can pull it up.
Said
That's all
that
he was asking.
this is what we recommend, but it is the council's decision on all of it.
Yeah, I was just hoping to bring the conversation forward. If we could start with that list to answer the question, what do we remove to get it down to 13? And it would be helpful to see that because I don't have it memorized. I don't remember what all those items are.
Is this the list you're referring to?
Yes,
Okay.
those are the things that add up to the 21,000. And the tax impact schedule, where is the full one?
It is page. Tax impact schedules on page 46.
Those are the other items that were on the list.
Are you talking about the original property tax impact schedule?
To see the full list, not just the 21,000.
That is not,
That's not in.
that
there.
is not in the packet.
So what I'm seeing is that this page that's on the screen right now are the things staff is recommending to remove to get us into budget.
Yes, to
And
completely.
the one that was on the
remove out of
previous page are the ones that you want to retain, the trees and I can't remember the other item.
Youth, city council, those kind of things.
So
I don't
if you
know.
look at page 44, I can walk you through. So if you look at page 44, it shows the account number, the account name, and then what it was in the May tentative budget that was adopted. And then what we're suggesting is what the new one, the interim budget would be, which is the difference of 21,000. It shows where that change is and what is decreasing out of that. That's the suggested amount of difference there. The previous tax impact schedule, Lisa's gonna grab that to show the full list. $39,000. Yeah. This was in a category list rather than the more detailed list that today's packet was in, but the various categories and were summarized rather than lined up. So ultimately, our suggestion is to reduce almost all of the line items that were already in there, either either completely remove those or decrease those line items, the full amount that we originally had looked at, or more than we had originally looked at, and ultimately leave that $13,000 as stuff that would stay on the impact schedule. Meaning if we go through truth and taxation, get to the end and say, no, we don't want to hold the rate. What we would leave on that is $13,000, $11,000 of a transfer from the general fund to the rec fund, and $2,000 in trails and tree. That would remain on the impact schedule that we would hope still goes into the budget at the end of the process. But the 21,000 will have to be completely removed from the budget, regardless of truth and taxation or not.
Well, I guess we could probably just make this kind of simple. Am I the only one who has a problem with these items versus staff pay?
For me, I think staff pay is right where it needs to be as far as what we agreed to increase it. So I would not be in favor of reducing that number.
When did we agree to raise that?
When we were talking through our other budget numbers.
We haven't passed a budget number yet. That's what I'm trying to say is that, okay, no, I understand.
Yes, we haven't, it's not official,
okay, yeah.
but
I'm
I
gonna-
support the staff increases.
Yeah, okay. I see. Because if I'm the only one that's looking to do that, there's no reason to continue wasting everyone's valuable time.
I'm
Look
good
that
with,
way.
I'm good with staff proposal, but I don't get a vote.
This is a very small item, Brett, but on the staff uniforms and some of those things, didn't we just match our current year's expenses though? It's very, very close. Are we now gonna be upside down in those accounts? There's a
There
couple of those
were,
line items that we did just match straight across.
for a majority of those, we did match. I did do an analysis and there were some that I adjusted, but it wasn't any of these line items that increased to
Okay.
in FY
So there's enough in
27.
there to current, because like with uniforms and some of those supplies, I mean, we have contracts with those people. It's not like we can change that.
Yeah, there's some things that some contracts that we may have to look at changing, but it's not a drastic change. That it should have, it still should be covered with the interim budget that we have. They should be covered enough, and that's why we tried to look at different things to see where we would just reduce several line items rather than completely eliminate line items, because there's some line items that we can't eliminate. And so we tried to look at as a whole group, where can we make minimal adjustments to and still have our balanced budget, and where can we make those cuts?
I could see you're spreading out the pain.
Correct.
Say amongst all the groups. I'm gonna step into it and ask just a general question about travel and training. Generally speaking, is there required travel training to maintain certifications or whatever that staff need for the given year?
Yes.
And is that the whole $21,000, or is some of that optional? I know the council goes and does the annual conference down south. If we were to forego that 1 year, that's money that we could save right there, not going to that conference. So would it be better to not shave it off on everybody, hold those other budgets and take the greater sum out of, I'm just using it as an example, but
Yeah.
first question is $21,000 the required training that staff require to maintain certifications? Or can we forgo a lot of this travel for 1 year?
Well, this line item is travel and training specific to the fire department. It's not across the board.
Okay. And so that answers the first question. This is for certifications and maintaining certifications. Okay.
Well, when we initially looked at this task of needing to create the impact schedule at the very first, we looked at line items that either had increased from last year to this year or the trend was such that we felt like where we had budgeted in the past had some room to decrease. We were not trying to get into anything that was essential at all. So everything on this list is stuff that we feel like we can still maintain our level of service to the community without significant loss. Although we do need to shave a little bit here and there.
So to say it maybe in another way, the tentative numbers, I'm going to stop there and I'll try to say it a different way. The increase between last year's budget and this proposed budget was for growth or new opportunities. We're suggesting to go back to the previous year's budget because we have that ability rather than to grow that budget.
Generally speaking, I'd agree with that, but you'd want to look at every line item specifically to say,
This is fair.
what was the budget last year? Were we intending to increase it a certain amount, or are we shaving off a little bit from last year?
But we're not shaving below what the 3-year average of the previous budgets or previous expenses have been.
Right.
Correct.
Okay, so we're.
Yeah, the first thing we looked at when we knew that we needed to have the conversation of cutting budget was what had we intended to maybe grow or increase that we now need to maintain instead. That was the first look, as well as where are we spending money. Let's say we have a line item that's a $10,000 number and our average over the last few years, we've come in at 8,500 or 9,000. Okay, well then we feel like we can take 500 out of that or 1,000 out of that. And that's how we looked at it initially.
But if we were to say, take the 3-year averages, would you be able to shave more off of any one of these categories if we were to say, hey, take the 3-year average and use that number?
Potentially.
Potentially.
So I don't think there's a lot more wiggle room off of this. That's why we put it in there as stuff that we hoped to not pull out of the budget, right? The intent initially was we go through truth in taxation, we receive $1.35 million in property tax revenue. All of this remains in the budget. However, now we know that we're going to be 21,000 short. So we know we have to pull it out of the budget completely. It's no longer we think we can get that at the end of the truth in taxation process. We know we won't. So now we have to cut $21,000 out of our expenses. So the first place to look is what we had hoped to include, but maybe not. Well, now it's a for sure not.
Question that's out there from the public would be it's a challenging question, but I'm not challenging, I just asked to explain. How did staff come up to these categories in which to choose the deductions? Because the budget has many line items. How did these raise to the top? Were they significant increases from the previous budget, or what was the rationale or the qualifications to identify these at which were faced to them?
So when the state law changed and said you have to identify that gap, we recognized it as $39,000 initially from our budget estimate and so that was an estimate, 39,000. When we brought that forward, the council said, look at that across departments. So we brought in each of our department heads and we talked through their individual budgets within their department of where they felt like there was room to shave so that it wouldn't significantly affect their department performance. And what they looked at first was where had we increased budget, or where had our trends been lower than what we have as budget. We also had the philosophical conversation of where does staff pay fit into that? Because we do have in the budget right now market-based increases. And from a staff perspective, that felt like a priority to maintain service level with our current employees and staffing. Again, philosophical conversation, but I've heard from councils in the past and council members today that they feel like staff needs to be within market so that we're not losing staff members. And the council's made decisions in the past to try to keep staff within market range. So we did the market-based study, has those recommendations in there. So fundamentally, we started with maintaining those market-based study decisions intact and looked at those other line items first. That's the philosophy that was followed.
Thank you.
And Wayne, just at first glance, because I was trying to find what we budget for like the one trip that we do. And that whole line item budget for the full council staff is $2,000, but that's both spring and fall. So it could be reduced.
I was just.
I thought it was a bigger number.
Yeah, so it's nice.
That's why I was looking it up.
I think you're looking in the wrong place.
It says ULCT spring and fall conferences,
Where at?
page 61.
I mean, if it really, I mean, the stipend that I get monthly, I mean, I could donate that back. You know, I don't have to take the $300 a month stipend. What is that? $3,000. You know, if I don't do that, there's part of it right there. That's 1/7 of it.
If what?
I don't take my stipend. I deny the stipend that we get as council members. That's one way to bring it down, and then we don't have to shave all these other categories. I mean,
There's probably a lot more that already do that.
well, I'm not saying everyone, but I'm just saying that's another place we can go that staff hadn't considered, but it's an option. If we're trying to reduce those increases. So that's one. I'll donate mine back. You can have it. I'm serious.
That's, that's an increase. We've been doing it 75.
So maybe we can't do that.
Yeah. Okay. Council, what would we like to do?
Well, with Wayne's $3,000,
Gets us down to
There's-
17,600 we need to come up with.
Well, maybe we can now buy snow supplies. No, it'll have to be emergency preparedness. I don't know. And that's what I was trying to say is that we don't even have options up here. So it's just us trying to brainstorm what are things that we could do because the only ones that we were given was this. And if this was something that came, like I said, from the committees or from groups together that just decided these, it should have been more than just those, so that there was a selection process for the city council to be able to say, no, this is where we deem the money should have been spent.
in their defense, these were listed when we had the public hearings.
And I argued on them then too. And I argued that we ought to have a discussion about the salary instead. That disappeared real quick. And there's still other ones. So I'm not trying to attack them. And that's when every time we bring up this bloody subject, it's either or that now we're fighting against staff. I'm asking honest questions is when I feel my responsibility is to honestly look at what the city residents are getting out of each one of these budgets. And when we increase the amount, are they getting an increase in services or is it going to internal? So, like I said, I appreciate the discussion that we've had. I understand that I'm lone guy on this, so I think all we have to do then is just go into the vote to approve this. I'll say my no and we can move on.
Okay. Someone ready?
Mayor, I move to approve resolution 2624 adopting fiscal year 2027 interim budget. With the amendment to have staff account for Wayne's donation. I don't care where you take it from personally. I think I'm 100% in line with what you have recommended here, so. If you want to subtract 3,000 from any of those, whatever you feel is most important, that's my motion.
I know we have a motion on the table. Can I ask a question though? So obviously I wasn't here for the meetings when we had this discussion. So youth city council, we were starting it for the fall to run concurrently with the school years. But knowing that that was taken down to 1,000, I was like, okay, but now it's being abolished completely. Is everybody okay with this? Because this is the first time, like with this packet, is the first discussion we've had of that. So if that's the direction of the council, then that's the direction of the council. But that's really hard for me to try to,
If we change.
Fundraise
if we change the
$1,000.
City council budget, the youth city council could come right back on. The problem we have is we've never spent, as long as a few people have been on council, we've never spent our city council budget. Because there's been more than 2 or 3 that have always donated their time. But yet we still are kind of obligated to budget it because that's not the way it will always be. And so that amount is all, he still budgets that amount. Even with Wayne's generosity, other people's generosity, that amount still gets budgeted. But it could come right back on with that amount if everybody would prefer to have the youth council still have a $2,500 budget. Or even put $1,000 budget in there for it or whatever.
and I will go from the direction of the council. I'm just saying like, as is, I will not move forward in the fall. Because there's no point in me recruiting and creating a program to start September when I have no money until this is approved and or added back to after we have our truth and taxation in August. So my hands are tied for this year if we do this. And if that's the direction, I am fine with that. We can try again another time, but that's where I'm at with this one.
Do we have an?
Do we have the interest? That's
Do
what
we,
I'm.
that's, yeah, if we have the interest,
If we
I
have the
think.
interest, I don't feel like
Councilman-
the council should go out and recruit. I think we should have youth that want to be involved. Otherwise, we have a real hard time getting them involved to do things.
Sure, I feel like we've already changed the youth city council budget from what it was and transferred that money over to help supplement the city activities with staff. So to me, that's part of the issue of having kids come to run those events. That has been taken care of. So it would change what the city council looks like, what their responsibilities and roles and everything they do in the city changes with that move over to having staff paid for. So because I agree that was an issue in the past, is relying on enough of the youth to come help run all those things. I just need to know what to do, guys. I like.
You could definitely cover it. I mean, with just the one line item that Wayne referred to, we currently budget 27,000. Our actual expenses are 21,600. That would reduce to 18,600. And you're budgeting 27,000. If we wanted to reduce that line item, it wouldn't be a problem.
You're talking about the city council budget.
But it's a one-time thing year to year.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, we have a motion on the table.
The emotion was,
Can
staff
we-
decides if you want me to withdraw my emotion.
I would
Not
prefer
motion.
to put something in there for youth council.
Okay, I'll amend my motion to refund youth council with the generosity of Mr. Windsor.
So basically, we're going to reduce the city council
Budget.
budget item by my amount, but we're gonna put 2,500 back into the youth city council line item. Still be a net difference to the city's benefit.
Correct.
I'm giving back more than what the city council, or
Correct.
youth city council is budgeting for, so I think it stays whole. And I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and second by Councilman Windsor. We roll call starting with Councilman Halverson.
Aye.
No.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, 4-1, motion carries. Thank you. Next item, resolution 26-25, Riverdale Senior Citizen Agreement. agreement put together with Riverdale now on our senior citizens being able to go down and use their facility, and just need to pass that agreement. Anyone have any questions on that? If not, we'll look for a motion to approve this.
So just quick question, this looks like we initially put, do $300 and then they just tally that difference up to us and we pay it within, I'm trying to remember what it said on there. Was it annually or within a year?
It's annually.
Annually.
Okay,
So the $300 would essentially cover the current pass members. And then each year they do a pass blitz essentially in January, first part of February. And so they will know basically by February 15th, how many citizens of South Weber have taken advantage of the offer. And they can then tell us exactly what that number is. And we'll be able to pay that and then use that as kind of our budget bellwether for the next budget season.
okay, thank you.
Just one quick question. I thought that we had agreed that we were gonna put some sort of cap just in case we saw some huge increase or something like that. Was that not discussed?
The cap that we had discussed was so much higher than these numbers
Oh,
that,
okay.
that it didn't make it in. Are you still interested in that? 'Cause
Well,
we can-
I guess I was thinking of it from a protection perspective, but if we feel like the risk is ridiculously low or statistically irrelevant, then maybe I'm overthinking it.
It's basically $30 per pass member. And
That's the annual fee.
yes,
Oh,
and we
okay.
currently have 10.
Okay, well. Let's see.
Yeah, then go ahead and make a motion. Wait.
I make a motion to approve resolution 2625 Riverdale Senior Center Agreement.
Second.
Yeah, motion second by Councilman Windsor. We'll do roll call vote, starting with Councilman Windsor.
Aye.
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 Okay, motion carries. Thank you. Next item, resolution 26-26 audit services agreement. Any discussion on this? Resolution.
The admin committee has reviewed the options, we've reviewed the selection process and the method to which staff went through it and concur with staff's recommendation. From a committee perspective. You want me to repeat that whole thing?
What was that last thing?
From a committee perspective,
Okay.
we recommend approval.
Okay.
It's too many chips in your ears. Move to approve resolution 2626 for the audit services agreement as submitted.
Seconded.
Okay, motion second by Councilman Howerson. We'll do roll call with Councilman Howerson.
Aye.
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 Okay, motion carries. You. Next is reports. Any new business?
Mayor, I'd like to ask if we could schedule with our state leaders to have them come in here and speak to the council with regards to the state legislations and their inability to make changes to dust and dust mitigation in the state. And maybe listen and give us some answers as to why change can't happen as the citizens are continue to suffer with this dust problem. Senate leader, House leader, and then our local representatives. I can make the contact, but it probably should come from a letterhead from the mayor and maybe manager.
I think I'm more than willing to do that.
Let's do it. I love that idea.
I can help write the letter if you'd like, or review it with you, but I just think we need to get some action. And right now, we're not getting any action from the pit themselves. They're not going to do anything unless they're compelled to do something. The state legislature is afraid to act because it's a what's that?
Largest lobby.
Yeah,
Second
well,
largest,
it's just,
actually, in the state.
it's something they don't want to take on, but we've seen it here. The water's not the answer. They don't have enough water and they're not going to be compelled to enclose or to shelter it unless we get legislation to make some changes. So that would be my new business if we could arrange that.
Okay. We can do that.
I look forward to that, Wayne. Thank you.
Anyone else with new business? Dave, you have any new business?
Just reports.
Just to report. Okay, let's do reports and committee assignments. Wayne, you want to start with your committees?
Our committees are standing ready to meet and discuss anything staff would like to have discussed at this moment. We have not had a meeting in the last couple of weeks.
Jeremy,
Nothing new for me. Thank you.
Bill?
I'm with Jeremy, so nothing.
Okay. Angie?
Happy to report that we have met with the train club. I want to say religiously. Is that word? We've been very dedicated in meeting with them and we've come to a resolution with their contract. So we have met the deadline of June 30th. It will come before council in July. First meeting in July. It's still on schedule for that. Okay.
Only meeting in July.
First and only, most important, in July. And that's all I have to report on. Shaylee.
Fantastic.
It's been great. It's been wonderful.
It's been
So,
really good. We appreciate
very much.
the new leadership there at the train club's been great.
Sure. So basically I just want everybody to know we have had no ill feelings in any of these meetings. It's been wonderful. So we've been able to move forward and talked about the weed maintenance responsibilities and how really the city's going to take that on and they can focus on the tracks. The safety issues were almost all complete last time we met, and I know they were working on some more again, so I don't have updates on that specific item, but they've been really good at addressing where their responsibilities are and how they can maintain the safety and the city will maintain the property. A safety audit checklist every time they run their trains, just implementing different procedures to make sure that everybody is on the same page and everything is safe and we're moving forward. So I don't know. That's what I'm saying. They've done several.
Yes, they are still red tagged until a reinspection, but they're working on those safety audit items.
That's all I have.
Municipal utilities met, we haven't done anything but the public works for quite some time, but that was one of the items we did talk about. If you've driven by, the retention basin was the only thing left as an outstanding item. Everything else is pretty well done, other than some couple punch list things that Mark for warranty has had them do. Sod went in yesterday, I believe, or was it this morning?
It's in, yep.
It's in. You'll drive by the park strip. It is our responsibility, the park strip there. But yeah, they did get the sprinklers in, grasses in, so they were given a deadline at the end of the month, and it looks like they're gonna meet that. So we also reviewed our other capital facility projects and projects. One of the big ones is sidewalks. Those of you have seen, I drove around, we started on that end of town. They are getting done. And they're working their way this way with a priority list. So
Awesome.
that's all I have to report.
Thank you, Blair. Shaylee, would you like to say anything about our concert in the park coming up in 2 days?
Yeah, we have a concert in the park coming up in 2 days. Jake Witt is returning from last year. It starts at 7 o'clock and ends at 8:30. Celeste has been awesome. And I don't know if she left, but she's been awesome marketing for the event. So I appreciate her. But we have 2 food trucks coming. One is a taco truck and one is a Euro truck, which we're excited about. And we also have bouncy houses. So the more the merrier.
Hope everyone comes out. Dave.
Couple of things. Mayor mentioned the idea of only having one meeting in July. We've got a few items scheduled for the July 14th meeting, but the way things are lining up, we don't have things that are lining up for July 28th. So the suggestion is to cancel that meeting unless something comes up urgent over the next few weeks that we would then need to meet. But that was the reference there, and want that to be a heads up. The mayor, Brett, and I are meeting tomorrow morning with representatives from Zions Bank to do our bond rating presentation to Moody's. We essentially tell the story of the city and our project and what that bond refunding is, and then they will tell us that we are AAA or whatever we hope that it's the best it can be, right? Because that will affect our interest rate. We should have our rating back by July 8th, and then we are going to market, sell those bonds July 23rd. So that's our schedule for the bond refunding at this point.
What's our current rating?
So the rating is based on the actual bond at the time. So the bond is rated, not necessarily the city at the whole, but it was a AA- 16 years ago, approximately. The bonds that we've done since 2010 have been a negotiated sale, not a market sale. So this will be the first market sale since 2010, from what I understand. And then the last thing that I want to report is that we had 11 volunteers respond to our America 250 planning when we submitted that to the public. 7 of which said that they were willing to be part of the planning committee, and 4 said that they'd be interested in helping on the day of an event or in other ways. Of those 7, 4 were able to attend our first meeting based on schedules. And we had a really positive meeting, Shaylee, myself, and those 4 volunteers. They were excellent, had some really wonderful ideas. We have now focused our attention into just a handful, like the council directed us to, but there is still some outstanding concepts that we need to get together and kind of flesh out. I don't necessarily want to publish what the plans are because they're still very early, but there's some really cool things that I think the community can get excited about in terms of our celebration of America 250. And so just look for those details as we publish them and as we get them out there. We do recognize that July 4th is the actual 250 of the Declaration of Independence. And our timeline is such where we're not necessarily focusing right around that day. It's more of the year-long celebration and the last 6 months of the year. We do recognize that September is always Constitution Month. And so we think that we can utilize September a little bit more with Constitution Month, as well as hoping to piggyback off of the gatherings that take place with Country Fair Days. So again, some really good progress was made by that. And I appreciate the idea from the council to get a volunteer group together. The energy there was really neat, and people that have some really cool connections and history with the American founding and things like that. So I hope that comes out over the next 6 months amongst the community, because I felt it on Thursday morning and it was really cool, very patriotic for me. So I appreciate that. Yes. Yeah.
So I overpromised saying we could hang the flags on the overpass because they'd have to be manned and the wind will blow them up onto the road. However, we've been working on solutions, and I met with General RV and Maverick, and both have agreed to let us hang our flags from their signs for the 4th of July. And so I'll be working out the logistics on that, but just wanted to give you that update that we're not doing the overpass thing, but we're going to work with Maverick and General RV to get our flags up onto their signs. So
Great.
Thanks,
Very
Derek.
good.
Thank you.
All for me.
Are you finished, Dave?
Yep.
We have Mark, I forgot to mention that we've got Mark Bell sitting in for Jamie this evening. We appreciate him coming up and being part of our council tonight. Thank you for coming. With that, we'll look for a motion to adjourn.
Seconded.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.